Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have back in our studio a very special guest, Dr. Robert Hoffman. Robert, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Always a pleasure and honor to be here.
You know, and for any new listeners, Dr. Robert Hoffman and I have been working together for a year and a half or so now.
Around?
And, Robert was instrumental in helping me find some of the key components to being able to solve my cancer problem, which was a pretty serious problem at the time. And we have a Zoom call every Sunday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And there's a link to the Zoom call on every podcast episode, so it's easy to find. And everybody's welcome. And my friend Ray was listening in yesterday, and his father has cancer, but he doesn't want to do anything to help himself. He's already at stage 4, done everything. Now I think they're putting him on that one medication that you were talking about that you said really doesn't have the end result that everybody's talking about. But end result is Ray got to hear the conversation, and it was a short call last time, and there was only, 12 people on it or something. Sometimes there's 30, 35 people on. But the truth is, this little call that we do every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time is some of the most important science being discussed by real people solving these real problems. These are actual cancer patients that are actually solving their own problem, their own way. And we all have this one thing in common. And the one thing we have in common is the understanding and recognition and practice of a low methionine diet. And most of us are incorporating methionase, which lessens or reduces the methionine in your system, because we've learned through your research and all of the hundreds of documented papers you've published and the countless experiments, 60 years of research, that cancer has an addiction to methionine, which is an essential amino acid found in every protein, animal and plant. And the more methionine you have in your system, the better cancer does. Is that more or less accurate?
Yeah, Joe, that's right. So every living cell requires methionine, from the lowest, tiniest, teeniest little bacterium to us, requires it. But cancers, for reasons we only partially understand, require a lot more. So we have a big differential between what the cancer needs and what the rest of the normal body needs. So
Right.
we lower the methionine in the body way down to just what the normal cells need and way below what the cancer cells need. So it's a good start in starving the cancer for something it's addicted to. And for most patients, of course, we need chemo or we need immunotherapy or both, but it's a basic. Anybody with cancer should be on methionine restriction. There's period. Whether
Right.
it's just the diet or you want to have more, the diet plus methionase, every patient needs to be on that. And there's no downside. There's no side effects. You have to watch your calories a bit.
Right. Yeah. The side effect is you're going to maybe lose some weight.
We have a medical food.
Right.
Tons of calories and no methionine. We can supplement our diet a little bit with that.
I do it every day.
If we're clever, we don't even need that, but
Right.
it's helpful. So the bottom line, every single cancer patient should be on a low methionine diet. We've only known this since 1959, but it doesn't get into the mainstream, and it's ridiculous.
Right. And that's one of the reasons that we talk about this. And, it's funny, I try to always find a different angle to present it with, because you just never know what's going to click with people. When I had the giant tumor sticking out of my neck and I was, before I met you, there was a chiropractor from near where you're at in San Diego And he came over and he has all these different modalities, and he has a hyperbaric chamber, and he has this crystal energy stuff. And, some of the stuff is, good science. Some of it's a little woo-woo, some of it, and who knows, maybe we just don't understand what woo-woo is.
If it doesn't hurt you, it's okay.
That's
That's
always been my theory. Yes,
on the one hand.
I
But
agree.
is it going to help you? We don't.
How much energy are you going to put into it?
Of evidence.
But
And
I remember he came over to my house when my cousin brought a few people trying to find help and answers for me. And I remember he was talking about vegan diet, and I was, on a more keto diet. And I was just like, I don't want to be a vegan. I go, that's just not what I want to do. I eat a lot of protein.
hang on 1 second, please.
Absolutely. I'm going to pause. And so, we'll stop again. No.
Hello?
So anyways, this Dr. Chris was telling me about, the vegan diet. And I remember in the back of my head, him mentioning methionine, but I didn't really hear it because I was busy rejecting what he was saying. And I was just saying, I lost a lot of weight on a keto diet. I was in a really good, healthy shape. But you remember my doctor telling me how I probably didn't have cancer because I was so healthy. And being healthy didn't necessarily help me in that point. And
It helped your tumor grow.
it helped my tumor grow. That is correct. And then somewhere down the line, weeks or a month later or so, I was researching and I literally stumbled upon the term methionine, and something in the back of my head connected those dots. Thank God for my subconscious, because I could have walked right past it and I might not have ever seen it. But I started researching methionine, and then methionase came up as a way to pull methionine out of your system. And I thought, not knowing anything, I thought, well, cool, I'll just order some methionase and take that as a supplement, and that'll help me. And I came upon one of your articles in PubMed that was talking about cancer's addiction to methionine. I was like, what the hell? What about sugar? What about, and so I skimmed through that article, and I was like, wow, I've never heard that before, but it's legit. And I saw your credentials, I saw the research behind it. I'm like, why am I not hearing about this? Why is nobody talking about this? Not in the supplement world, not in the naturopathic world, not in the cannabis world, nobody, nowhere. And I was like, okay, well, let me keep looking. So I searched at Amazon trying to find methionase, no methionase. I looked at all of my suppliers because I manufacture natural products. So I have all these different natural herb suppliers and things. I searched all of them, nothing. And finally, I came up with a link to your nonprofit.
Sent me like a one-line email.
I did. I'm like, I'd like to buy some methionase.
Methionase sign Joe.
Yeah, that was it.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, we'll see if I hear back from them. Because, most companies you send a message to, and maybe you hear back, maybe you don't. A lot of times you don't. Within a half an hour, I got an email back. Give me a call, and you gave me a phone number. I called you right back. And next thing you know, we're having a conversation just like this one.
The rest is history.
And the rest is history. Yeah. And now I'm doing the same thing. I'm out there trying to tell everybody. And people generally don't want to listen. They don't want to hear it. And so
Okay.
it's okay.
New paradigm blockage. Thomas Kuhn's book just describes it perfectly. The people to get people to follow a new paradigm is really, really hard.
It is.
Especially when you got the old paradigm so supported. And
oh, yeah.
I tell some of my students about the first kind of monkey man that tried to walk on two legs, and all the other.
Everybody laughed at him.
Get back on all fours like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And so, and I see the same thing with my little electric car.
Right.
Oh, you have so much trouble charging. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad I have my little gasoline car. Oh,
yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's changing the paradigm.
Right.
And and especially if the doctor, methionine, never heard of it.
Right.
You get that, that's the kiss of death. And so it's tough, Joe, and we're going to find the common feature of our patients on the Zoom call. They're
Right.
all very intelligent.
Yes.
Everybody's a high IQ person.
Yes.
And
That's for
second,
sure.
they are willing to take risks.
Yes.
Risk taker people.
Big time.
And this is another thing. So
Yeah.
this is very important. And so you have high intelligence mixed with willingness to take a risk, especially when your life is on the line with cancer.
Exactly.
So
And
you
you'd be
multiply
surprised that
one very small fraction, high intelligence,
right.
another very small fraction,
Right.
willing to take a risk, and
Yeah.
the multiple of those two fractions,
Even smaller.
multiple decrease.
Exactly.
1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4.
Yes.
1/10 times 1/10 is 1 out of 100. And
Much less. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a small group comparative to.
and that's it. That's what's out there. That group.
Yeah.
So as we've seen over the years, we add only a couple people a year to that group.
Right.
No, add couples a little exaggerated, but we don't add many.
It fluctuates a little bit, but still, yeah.
And you got two small fractions multiplied, and so that's it.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
Well, I'm always looking for people like everywhere I go, like I said, we run these sweat lodges now, and I get new people come out here all the time. And sometimes you can tell there's somebody, I can spot a cancer patient a mile away now, and before,
Oh yeah.
yeah, there's just certain traits, and you're like, oh, he's dealing with it. You get in the club and you start spotting club members, I guess. But we get a number of cancer patients come out and sit in our sweat lodge, and a lot of them, I tell them my story. Liz shows them the picture.
I'll tell you a little historical. It may be true. So
right.
when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I got interested in presidential elections. Just a little kid.
Okay.
This was the beginning of the 50s. It was Eisenhower against Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody came up to Stevenson and said, any intelligent person would vote for you, Mr. Stevenson. And Mr. Stevenson said, yeah, but I need a majority.
Isn't that true, though?
Isn't it true? I mean, and of course he was nominated twice and he got beaten twice.
Yeah. He was ahead of the curve, I guess.
We face this problem, and the cancer patient has so much going against them. The oncologist, the general oncologist, is first line, second line. If you're lucky, clinical trial, next hospice.
Right.
And no innovation whatsoever. Follow the guidelines. Not really care about the person. Hates it when you challenge them. That's what you're up against. And you, in my opinion, at Irvine, were kind of lucky because the lady oncologist kind of went against the guidelines a little bit, allowed you
I
to go
convinced her. You got to give me that.
for 3 cycles, but she wasn't going for 4.
Right.
No way. And
Yeah.
so that was so lucky that you
Yeah.
didn't get irradiated. So, you know, but then you hit the wall. And then you went over to Dr. Song, who's one of the most innovative oncologists. He's 83 years old. Nobody's going to tell him what guidelines. He's practicing
Love
over
that man.
years. And he's one of the innovators of what we call modern chemo. And he said, you're in a big institution, it's all guideline. When you're in a private clinic like mine, he said, we can go around guidelines. I mean, he doesn't give unapproved drugs, but he doesn't necessarily follow a guideline. He'll follow a guideline if he thinks it's best for you.
Right. Agreed.
So, Dr. Song, Tom Song, is truly a great man. And I don't know if he's 1 in 1,000 or 1 in a million. I don't know. But he's extremely rare.
Certainly a rare bird, that's for sure.
How many oncologists in this world are like Tom Song? I think Dr. Castro's right up there with him.
Agreed.
And surely Dr. Sato in Japan is.
Yeah, Dr. Sato's definitely in that league as well.
So rare. So
Yeah.
the patient is up against the system,
Right.
which the oncologist represents, and they're doing their best. That's what they were taught.
Right.
They were taught, this is what we do, and they often work for a bigger institution that says you can't deviate from the guidelines, and they truly want to help people. There's no conspiracy or any of that kind of foolishness.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's just it has to do that book, Thomas Kuhn's The Structure of Scientific Revolution. I bring that book up at least once every week or two in a conversation. I'm like, you got to read this book.
It's 64 years old, that book, and it'll be 640 years. It'll still be the main way to understand how science and medicine progresses.
People think they understand science. Even scientists think they understand science.
Well, they don't.
They don't. They don't understand the influences. They don't understand the obstacles.
A small fraction of what two know. And as a friend of mine once criticized another person and said, he doesn't even know what he doesn't know.
Exactly. That's so true. The older I get, the dumber I get. That's for sure.
And we're up against the toughest of all diseases. I don't know, this one oncologist who popularizes things, Mukherjee or whatever his name is his book, I think it's worth reading, although he's really a standard oncologist, is he called cancer the emperor of all maladies.
There you go.
It's worth reading. And we're up against it. But we know a few things, so let's take advantage of what we know.
Exactly. Well, in the last week, not this most recent call, but the week before, Dr. Emil Exume was, every time he talks, it makes me happy because the guy has such a wealth of knowledge. And, he's a man that has got 6 years of additional life.
Yeah.
And just the smartest guy I've ever listened to, besides you maybe. And his understanding of physiology and biochemistry and just the way he thinks with just straight logic and the body of evidence and the level of evidence as to weighing. He doesn't get emotional about anything. He's like, this is what I see. This is what the evidence shows. It makes sense.
A couple years ago, and he said, I was a doctor for 32 years. I was a surgeon for 32 years. And I didn't know what I know now. And he cried. He said, I could have so many more people.
Could have helped so many people. Yeah.
We're all like that.
We're all like that. That's true. Exactly.
Understood perfectly and articulated it perfectly.
Yes.
And he is in his 6th year of stage 4 lung cancer. Maybe the only person in the world
Yeah.
doing that. He was told
Exactly.
when he was diagnosed, his oncologist said, "If I can see you in a year, it'll be a miracle."
Right. And here it is, 6 years later.
Yeah, and that's because his brain always
Right.
stay ahead, ahead,
Yeah.
and which is
I've
what we.
watched him change his little course and pathway 3 or 4 times in the short year and a half I've known him. And he's just like you said, he's staying ahead of the game. Well, in this most recent call, he was talking about, in my opinion, something I'd never heard of before, and it's called deuterium depletion. And he forwarded me a book called Deuterium Depletion: A New Way in Curing Cancer and Preserving Health. Obviously, that term curing cancer to me is a rough one. I don't necessarily know that that's even a thing, but the idea is what we're talking about is getting the cancer from killing you to not killing you, and stop it from growing, and reverse it to where you can't detect it. That's the thing you can do. What do you know about this? Because I'm just starting to research it, and the beginning of the book, the
Speak
way
to
that
him.
they talk about cancer,
I
and
don't know about deuterium, Joe.
okay,
Dr. Exume
uh-huh,
is completely out of my knowledge.
okay.
I just say, as I always say, if it doesn't harm you, give it a try.
Well, the way that the beginning of this, they're talking about general characteristics of cancer and the paradigm shift in biology, talking about molecular, submolecular biology, and then they talk about deuterium. So I'm just beginning to read this book, and so far, their understanding of cancer aligns with what I know. And so I'm liking what I'm reading so far. I'm not hearing crazy things that don't make sense. So they're the way that they're describing, tumor growth and undetected cancer and the problem with it being undetectable for so long and how it floats in the bloodstream looking for a place to land, and all of those things align with what we've talked about, align with what makes sense. So I'm most interested because the way Dr. Exume describes it was it is likely to be helpful in removing or reducing tumors, but it's most helpful so far that we know of keeping tumors from coming back, which is where I am. I am doing everything I can to keep tumors from coming back.
All of cancer, the whole cancer, keep the prevent or delay recurrence. That nothing is more important than that.
100%. And it's where I'm spending, like when I had the tumor in my neck, I spent 95, 98% of all my waking hours working on getting that thing gone. That was my life. All I did was try to get rid of that tumor. Now that it's gone, I got to try to put my life back together and all that, but I still spend 30 to 40% of my waking hours thinking about, okay, I need to keep this thing gone. So it's focusing on keeping my diet clean, making sure I got my methionase, making sure I'm still doing my oxygen therapy, my exercise, my heat therapy, all those things that I'm already doing. And I'm looking at stacking the next piece into that can help it be bulletproof. I believe the Keytruda I'm taking is instrumental in that. I believe that. I hope it is. But I'm not relying on any of those things.
Well, we know one thing: it's not coming back.
So far, so good. Yeah,
So we can give Keytruda some credit.
I will. And I continue to take it. I got approved for another year.
Not coming
So
back.
that's a good thing. But one of the things that we talk about in this group, and I think this is really important, is the emerging science. There's so much emerging science right now. There's everything from vaccinations to biological approaches to immunotherapy approaches, new drugs, new chemos, new radiations, ultrasound, histotripsy. There's all these new promising innovations that could be likely steps forward. Let's just say I don't think we're ever going to find one silver bullet, but we're gonna find tools that a good oncologist can use if he's well prepared.
Or an intelligent patient can
Or
use
an
it.
intelligent patient, especially an intelligent patient.
If we have cancer, yeah, the oncologist is big, but he's not the whole story. We got to
No,
self.
I always said to myself, to you, to all the other oncologists out there, I said, I am the world's foremost expert on my cancer.
That is, my opinion, exactly right.
And I think every cancer patient should be the same. Learn it, know
They,
it.
they are, whether they realize it or not.
Exactly. And hopefully that's good. In my opinion, in my case, it was. Not everybody is that because,
Use it. Got to use that.
right,
And
exactly.
a lot of the patients, most of the patients are probably just intimidated. I've got this horrible cancer, and my oncologist says this. Okay, I'm going.
I think a lot of it too is they get weary. Fighting cancer, knowing that you have cancer is brutal on the system. It's very,
When you first learn you have cancer, so brutal.
it's like getting broadsided by a pro football player and you just get knocked out and you're just laying there trying to figure out how to breathe.
Another paradigm in popular culture anyway. I got cancer and I'm going to die.
Right.
And that is so far from the truth.
100%.
But that's the popular paradigm. The big C. I got the big C, and I'm a goner.
Yeah. Nope.
Oh,
It is my entire goal in life.
stage 4, and I'm not a goner.
No, I was stage 4, and here I am, not a stage anymore.
No, stage 0.
And it's my goal in life to die from something that's not cancer.
Well, and that's not going to be for a heck of a long time.
Oh no, like I said, I'm hitting my midlife crisis right now. I figure I'm 60, maybe I'll live to be 120.
Why not?
Why not? I can't come up with a reason.
Nope.
Anyways, I want to get to a couple other things. Number one, about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, the NIH put on a symposium that talked about methionine and its effect on cancer. And it was maybe one of the first times something like that been done. The NIH is a major body of science, and
the major body.
And for a group like that to not only even recognize the value of methionine restriction or its effect on cancer, but to actually conduct a symposium and bring on experts, that's a step. That's a crack in that paradigm. I don't know how far it's going to reach, but it happened and it's been documented, and they're talking about going further with it.
There's 2 people that made it happen.
Yeah.
The person at NIH, actually the National Cancer Institute, Danny Shi, DANIXI, and our patient, Dave Ferraro.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2, because of those 2, there was the first time ever NIH put on a symposium of methionine and cancer. It was, I think, 3 different sessions.
Yeah, I believe so. At least 2 for sure.
Kind of approach to methionine and cancer. These are people that have, for the most part, or maybe all, have received grants from the National Cancer Institute that I think most, if not all, are administered by Dr. Shi. It was great. And the next step over a year ago, more than a year ago, was we need to publish these presentations on the NCI, National Cancer Institute, whatever website. And that hasn't happened yet. We all know that some people are putting their little political hands into the National Institutes of Health where they have no reason to be there. And so there's political issues. I can't understand why anybody wouldn't want that symposium, the proceedings of that symposium to go on the website and subsequently be published. It was fantastic. And then there's going to be follow-up. So let me tell you a little bit of good news.
Okay.
Dr. Shi is still active.
Yay.
I went to a symposium a couple weeks ago on bacterial therapy of cancer, another
Oh,
interest.
good. I wanted to get to that. Yeah.
And Dr. Xi's department made a donation to that meeting to help with.
Nice.
So she's still on the leading edge.
I
She's
love it.
there. I don't know the politics. I bet
Yeah.
it's not easy, but she's hanging in there.
I
So
love that.
I think Dr. Xi's going to be back with us. My feeling.
I love it. I love it.
And
Well,
Dave is in touch with her.
yeah.
So
Well, there's
we're going to have a follow-up to that great thing that happened.
so the other piece is you publish papers regularly, and they get published in medical journals, and then they end up being cataloged in PubMed, which is
In the world.
clearinghouse of peer-reviewed.
It's a compendium. PubMed is now about 42.5 million publications. All of them are available, at least for their abstract, and a good many of them are available for the whole paper. PubMed is owned by the National Institutes of Health.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things our government does.
Yeah.
Keep that website going.
Right.
And websites survived the shutdowns that happened over the last while.
Yeah.
It's such an asset for learning. And the cancer patients, the good news, are learning how to use it.
Yes.
All the patients we have are very familiar with PubMed. They're learning to read and see what they can do for themselves.
Yes. Well, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up. At one point back in last November, you published an article that talked about my journey and up into the point where I was at, where it had been reduced down to negligible.
Like Joe, the follow-up paper, it's not quite accepted, but looks
Yeah.
like it's going to be accepted, and that will have your MetPet results showing your complete response.
I love it. So basically, we were able to get published in a peer-reviewed journal and then in the PubMed catalog. And what that's allowed me to do is when I talk to somebody who is skeptical or doubtful about the things I'm telling them when it comes to what they could do for their cancer, first thing I do is I go, let me send you a link to an article. And whether they're a doctor or
By third parties. It's not
exactly,
talking, it's third parties talking.
exactly. And I go, look, this is in the journals. It's about me, but I didn't write it, and that's all I can say. And I've handed it to, I would say, dozens of doctors, at least 24 doctors. I've handed it to many dozen patients and people that are interested. My opinion, the more people that read that, the more people will hopefully open their mind to these sorts of things. And it's been very, very helpful.
React from wow to, oh, it's just an anecdote.
Right. Exactly. But even so,
Strange.
even if you can take it to it's an anecdote,
We may
at
catch
least,
wows.
yeah. Well, you know what really is crazy, and this just irks me a little bit, is you have a guy like, let's just say in quotes, Chris, who overcame a cancer, and he did a series of things, and his cancer's gone. Well, we don't ever know what did what, and we just know that his cancer's gone. So he goes and writes a book about what he did, and he says, I did this, so it cured my cancer, so you can do it too. And what is he doing? It's a complete anecdote. There's no science behind any of it. It's a good story. I read it myself, and I said, yeah, most of what he says is good. There's nothing wrong about it. But to make a claim that if you do this thing, it's going to cure your cancer is, in my opinion, irresponsible. And there's so many books like that. There's so many testimonials. Oh, you just
For books, Joe, they're not peer reviewed.
no, but
And you can
they
write
get accepted. They
I
get it.
papers.
Yeah.
And by the way, Joe, there's a second patient. It's published. You can see it if you go to the easy way for our paper, Hoffman RM methionine, gets you
Okay.
the whole 50 years. And there's a paper, I don't know who's the first author, but you'll see head and neck cancer. So this patient is a young lady. She had this horrible jaw surgery, and I guess she had radiation, and she recurred.
Yeah, which is what's most likely to happen.
Then she went on methionine restriction with methionase, and she got Dr. Sato's radioimmunotherapy,
Okay.
and she's a CR just like you.
I love it. I love it.
How
I love
long?
it.
I don't know, but
Well,
this lady is so diligent.
yes.
She never,
As was I. Yeah.
she's going to be on methionine restriction all her life.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that thing coming back.
No.
And she's obviously very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
There we are. So now there's an N of 2. So
Yes.
N of 1. Now he's
Right.
2. That's 2 times 1.
And not only that, but that particular cancer, the head and neck squamous cell carcinoma, is a very aggressive, smart, nasty cancer that loves to change, loves to metastasize, and loves to come back. And I'm in a group that has over 500 people in it, and the vast majority of the stories in that group, people gone through 30 doses of radiation, chemo, surgery, all of those things. And most of the time, not only are they debilitated by the treatments, they can't swallow, they can't, their teeth have fallen out, their salivary glands don't work, they can't talk, they got a G tube for the rest of their life, all of these things just from the treatment, not from the cancer. And then they go through all that, and then the cancer comes back anyways.
Yep.
And that's throwing into the pain, the suffering, the can't sleep, and all of that comes from both. And like I said, then it comes back again. I couldn't imagine the disheartening blow of you went through all the stuff they told you to do. It tore you apart, and they say, well, you'll survive it. Get through it. They always say the same thing, basically, ring the bell, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I didn't ring the bell when I was done with chemo. I don't have any bell to ring. I just want to be healthy. That's all. And so, but I watched this happen over and again, and not once in this whole group. And I've taken a few people privately. I'm not trying to hijack the group, but it's a place for people to share their story. But I've taken people behind the scenes and told them about my story and shared my article. And it's the same as everywhere else. The thing is people get weary. You get weary when you find out you have it, and then whatever treatment it is, it beats you up too. It doesn't matter if it's radiation, chemo, some comment, even the diet's hard. It beats you up a little bit. You have to sacrifice things that you love. You end up struggling to keep weight on. It's a chore. And then to find out that you got to do it all over again.
Well, and you probably can't.
And most people can't. Yeah. And like you said, the cancer's adapted already to what you did the first time.
It's multifocal in the lung.
Exactly. So,
oh boy.
that takes me to the last piece of the pie here. Yesterday in our meeting, we stopped a little short. There's not always a whole lot to talk about when you have the same people on sometimes. Usually there's new people, a lot of new things to talk about. But halfway through, we were about done, and you mentioned you're working on a grant with somebody. And I want to bring up in this show as regularly as I can. You have a nonprofit, and I run a nonprofit. The hardest thing to do is to get a nonprofit up and running and standing on its own and have somebody pay for things. And grants are one of the ways that can happen. Why don't you tell us about your nonprofit and how it's funded and how it works? And maybe somebody will hear and want to help.
Okay, well, I did this kind of late in life, around 2012. One of the people in the lab said, why don't you do it? And I said, okay. So this is way back then. I I hired a lawyer who's expert in nonprofits, and this lawyer made sure the application was consistent with becoming a 501c3 corporation, which is IRS designation of a tax deductible nonprofit. And in
Correct.
a couple of years it qualified. I haven't used it to get grants or anything, but I use it for the patients to make donations.
Mhm.
It's all tax deductible. I have to hire a pretty good accountant every year, and his name is Scott Carpenter. I think he's terrific,
Okay.
and he takes care of the tax returns, which are not simple.
Right.
So what I've learned recently, and I helped a friend form a for-profit. Hold on, Joe. Sorry.
No, take your time. I'm gonna pause it again here.
Oh, okay. Hello? There was a, a good, I met through a good friend of mine. He's from Japan, but he lived here 18 years and he's a businessman. And he introduced me to a lawyer, a very nice lawyer. And the nice lawyer introduced me to this service
Okay.
for foreign companies. They call themselves IncServe, INCCERV. Their real name is Incorporation Services. You can see them on the internet.
Okay.
With another friend, we used IncServe to form an LLC for another Japanese friend, a US LLC, a California LLC. A couple $100. They did everything. It happened within, I don't know, 36 hours it took or something.
Okay.
And they were online. I haven't tried yet, but I'm guessing IncServe can help form a nonprofit, and they charge very little money.
Okay.
So anybody that wants to form a nonprofit, I recommend start off with IncServe. The
Right.
we used back in 2012 cost us plenty. I don't know how much because it's a long time ago, but it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
IncServe, I mean, I'll just tell you, this is kind of an anecdote. My Russian friend Eugene was ready to start his company a few years ago, and lawyers were telling him it's going to cost him $20,000.
Okay. That's a
And
lot.
for IncServe, but my good friend, a great lawyer, Matt Valenti, did it for him for $200.
Oh, nice. Wow.
IncServe is less than that.
Quite a
So
difference. Wow.
it's so easy to form a company. IncServe they're based in Delaware. A lot of people like to form Delaware companies because if they ever get sued, the trial will be in Delaware, and the home team does very well in Delaware.
I bet.
So I don't know. I mean, you can just go on your phone, Joe, and you'll see IncServe,
Yeah.
and they're terrific. So anybody that wants to form an LLC or an INC or a nonprofit 501c3, I recommend starting with them.
Nice. So with your nonprofit, you have two companies. You have one company that basically makes the
That's
methionase,
that's been around for 42 years.
and how is that funded?
Huh?
How is that funded?
It's funded through the nonprofit.
That's what I figured. Yeah. So the two, I mean, I do the same thing. I have a for-profit and a nonprofit, and they work together in concert.
And we don't make a profit, and I
Yeah.
don't care about that. We just want to be self-sustainable
Right.
and we are, and
Yeah.
and we've learned how to be self-sustainable, and we're going to be self-sustainable for the next 100 years or whatever. And
But imagine if you could get an injection of
we
a
don't
grant.
need the millions and the billions. Self-sustainable to do what we want to do, and that's to do great cancer research, move the field forward, and help patients who cannot get help elsewhere.
And so if we could find more attention to that, what you're doing, the work you're doing, if people had any idea the amount of research you do and the amount of papers you've published, that everything I've seen so far validates your work. Everything that I've seen you publish has shown me that methionine restriction helps in virtually every treatment that you've tested. And you've tested them most of the time in mice. You have these special mice that you test on, but you have other ways that you test as well. And you keep showing over and over again that when you remove methionine, the cancer cells die. When you remove other things,
Or they become more sensitive to chemo.
right. It hurts them. It doesn't help them.
It hurts them.
And the healthy cells, though, we've talked about this in past episodes. So like when you talk about glucose or cysteine or some of the other things that people are like, well, there's your magic bullet.
Recent publications, Dr. Miyashi's publications.
Right.
Cysteine requirement
Yeah.
is not cancer specific. Glucose requirement is not cancer specific.
Right.
All that stuff these people raving about for the last 100 years is
Right.
wrong.
Well, and if you take it out of the healthy cells die. So you can't do it.
We did something that a high school
Exactly.
could do.
Right.
We took normal cells and we took cancer cells and we restricted them with cysteine or glucose or methionine or glutamine.
Right.
Not only did we do it in parallel cultures,
Right.
and showed and compared each one with methionine restriction, and we did it in even a co-culture where we would put in one culture dish the normal cells and the cancer cells. And if you restrict that culture of methionine, you kill the cancer cells and the normal cells do good.
Yeah.
But if you restrict cysteine, you restrict glucose, you restrict glutamine, you kill them both.
Yes. And that's the part that people don't get.
So simple, so logical. And you read these sophisticated papers and the best, cysteine and 20 different genes are tested and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Simple side-by-side comparison, cancer and normal cells. Just look at cancer. Well, heck, I can kill cancer with sulfuric acid. It's easy.
Exactly.
It's easy to kill cancer cells.
Kill everything with it, though. Yeah.
In the world. But how do you kill the cancer cell without killing the patient?
Exactly.
This is what has been so hard for the last 5,000 years.
Right. Well, in my opinion, the fact that it was discovered that the methionine is this Achilles heel for the cancer is the best news ever.
Right, Dr. Sugimura in 1959, Joe.
Yep. And
good journal, Archives of Biochemistry and Biophysics. The experiments were done at NIH.
Yeah.
I bet today the only person at NIH that knows those experiments are Dr.
There you go. But at least she knows it. And there's one, and that's becoming more. Well, in my opinion, that's the one thing that gives us a chance to overcome cancer, because if cancer cells and healthy cells all needed the same thing, there'd be almost no way to solve the problem. And at least we have something that we can overcome the cancer with and not overcome the healthy cells.
Well, it takes a lot of thinking and combination therapy, and even that sometimes doesn't work, but we're in the right direction. There's no question. And you're the super example of this.
Well, that's my goal, is to now be the super spreader of information.
Long story, Joe, from having this grapefruit on your neck.
I know.
What you are now.
I know.
It was the methionine restriction, or it was the chemo, or we can't.
It was all of it. Yeah.
Say, but we can sure say you're all better.
I can sure say that. That is for sure. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like it's really great sitting with this group, because all the people, or the majority of them, when I showed up on the group, I showed up, with this grapefruit sticking out of my neck, and everybody, so I saw their eyes when I popped in, and and then we walked that journey together, and now when I have a conversation, I know I'm a little yappy sometimes and I jump in, but
Cycle of chemo, we could
yeah,
see it day by day.
I know. No, it's 100% true. So if you had a message to any of our listeners, and of course, I'm hoping that, we have some people that are in that small percentage of people that are both intelligent and willing to take a risk. But if you had a message for all of these people listening today, what do you think that would be?
Listen to Joe.
All
I mean it. Listen
right.
to Joe. That's my message. You're the living proof of what you talk about.
This is true. I do walk the walk.
Only you have gotten this fantastic response and know so much to be able to convey it to other people in a very understandable way. So my message, all the podcaster listeners out there, my message is listen to Joe. He's the living proof of what he says.
Well, thank you, Robert. And it is always a pleasure working with you. I enjoy our conversations. I'm inspired, but most importantly, I have, in no small part, you to thank for me being here today. And it's just an absolute pleasure.
In the Bible, it says, you save one person, you save the world.
There we go.
We're out there to save one person at a time if we can, do our best. If we don't have 1 million people following us yet, okay. How about one?
There you go. I'll take one more.
Every one of you who wants to come and listen to Joe, you're a treasure and you're going to receive a treasure.
And maybe more importantly, come in and listen to the call and the links in every show. And
we love the call because there's so many other patients that can confirm what you and I are talking about.
Exactly.
But if you don't want to listen to the call,
then
Joe,
keep coming on and I'll keep yapping. All right, Robert. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to thank all of our listeners for making this show possible, and we will talk to you all next time.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.